Hello viewers, George here to talk about another game because that's what I do. I talk about games, and this time I'm talking about a game that I was really excited for when the Wii U came out. Yeah, when the Wii U was announced and they were showing off some of the games and whatnot, I remember very fondly when they showed Game and Wario. I was like, I have to get that game. I hope it's day one release. Of course, it wasn't, but I pre-ordered it, and when it came out, and I'm so relieved that I didn't overhype myself for this one either, because it's a lot of fun, and if you've ever played a WarioWare game before, you sort of know what you're getting yourself into, because that's essentially what the WarioWare series has always been about, is doing these micro-based mini games. By utilizing the technology that they have within the console. So, the Game Boy Advance, they utilize the buttons, or like Twisted, they utilize that gyro sensor tumor thing that was at the end of the cartridge. Touch, they utilize the touch screens, and the Wii, they utilize that, and the GameCube, they utilize that. So, Wii U comes along. How are they going to do it? Gamepad. And guess what? The game only uses the gamepad. If you've played multiplayer on this, you only use the gamepad. And you only use one gamepad. So, everything you need comes with your system. So, that's really cool. They found ways to make mini-games, especially from multiple people, with only one controller. And that's a huge feat for, anyone, because there's a lot of games that do that, but how many of them really succeed entirely? And how many of them really last that long? How many of them, you'll play it, no matter what. Game & Wario, you'll always go back to play. It's definitely going to become one of those multiplayer favorites, like the other ones have. So, let's talk about some of the games. I think right off the bat, I want to talk about the multiplayer ones, because that's the ones that a lot of people are probably more interested in, if anything. Because, like I said, it's going to become a multiplayer hit. So, I'm going to just get the gamepad here, because it's so much easier to demonstrate things with this thing. So, there are a couple of multiplayer ones. 4 of them you have right off the bat, and 1 or 2 of them you have to unlock within the single player. Trying to make sure I have them all off my head here. So, the first one is probably one that's a little bit of the weaker ones, and I'll explain why in a second. It's where I start off with the worst one. But it's a rhythm-based game where you have to take the gamepad, and 2 people are using it, so one person has this end, the other person has that end, and you tap to the rhythm of the beat, and you each take turns sending attacks, and then you have to defend those within the rhythms. And although it's a great idea and concept, I was really excited to try it because of that. Where it fails is each turn that goes by for when it changes to the next person who gets to attack, it changes the beat, it changes the music and the rhythm and whatnot. So you're trying to quickly figure out what the rhythm is, because in order to send an attack, you have to hit it within time of the beat and the rhythm. And if you don't have a good ear for music and detecting those kind of things, I don't really have that great of an ear for that, and so did the other person I was playing with. You're not going to really be enjoying this game at all, because you'll be going, it's not doing anything. And then the odd time you do get it right, you're like, how the fuck did I do that? So although it's a great idea and concept, it's very limited to who will really, really enjoy it. Thankfully, the other ones actually work pretty well. So there's one where you have to fling francs off the gamepad onto these floating platforms with various points on them, and you each take turns doing that. And throughout the game, various little things can happen. One of the things that constantly always happens is a seagull comes by and picks up a random franc and just drops it wherever, whether it's in the water or on another point platform, and that's fun. What I really like about that game is it doesn't ever seem to be very boring, even though it's a turn-taking based game. So that's like I said, that's fun. The next one is a Pictionary based thing. Did I say Pictionary? Yes, it's a Pictionary based one, and where each person takes turns trying to draw as many words as they can, while everyone else is trying to guess them. And the goal is to try and like get as many words guessed as you can as you go through each person. That's really fun. It takes like the best part of Pictionary, which is guessing the drawings, and turns it into a fun little game. And I haven't seen any problems with it. Basically, you have like, I think 2 or 3 minutes to with each person to go through as many drawings as you can, and you can play with up to 5 people. So that's a lot of fun. And of course, everyone's screaming, various words out. It gets a lot cooler. And the game stresses to try and not cheat by giving hints or, saying anything that will help them or writing anything. So if you play it right, it becomes like really chaotic and fun, of course. The next one is one that when I saw it, I was like, oh, this isn't going to work too well, is it? It's that fruit one where one person on the gamepad has to try and steal as many fruit as they can, or like go undetected basically, for 3 minutes or something like that, while everyone else is trying to guess which character they're playing as on the screen. And like I said, one person uses the gamepad, and then at the end, each person takes turns figuring out who it is. I think I've only played it with one person, so I assume that's how that works. And it's actually fun, though it's a little bit difficult to grasp at first because, like, if you're trying to guess, it's hard to explain. I hate when I say that, but it's hard to explain how it doesn't quite work too well right off the bat. But after you've played it like 1 or 2 times, you sort of like get the hang of how to work it. And of course, the big one is trying to conceal yourself, but that's always fun when you can like get away with a fast one. Let's see. So those are the multiplayer ones. The game does use the Miiverse by having like this thing where you get suggested a word and you have to draw it within a minute, and then that drawing gets posted on the Miiverse, and people can see it, and of course they can comment on it and be like, "Oh, you don't even know what the hell this is," or you're like, "Your drawing sucks," or something like that. Or it's like, "That's really good. Good job. Good work. Thumbs up. Hurry up." Okay, so that's cool, and it's a nice little use of the Miiverse. Some of the single-player ones, I'm not going to name them all off because, 1, I can't remember them all, and 2, I don't want this to go on too long, because it already has. So, there's that pirate one they were showing where, like, you have to hit where you're going to get attacked by, like, plungers, and you gotta, like, get them, and you have to go within the time of the music, and that's fun. That's actually a really, really fun game. And then there's, the gamer one where, like, you're playing the WarioWare game on your gamepad, and then you have to also watch out for like when 9Volt's mom comes by, and you have to like hide and pretend like you're sleeping, and that's really fun because like whoever was a kid growing up probably has done that multiple times. So they make it into a little fun game, and it actually provides a bit of challenge too when you first play it. There's a taxi one where you have to pick up passengers and save them from like UFOs. And on the gamepad, you can see the front of where you're driving. Then on the screen, you see the map from a certain angle. So like you don't really see the entire thing, but it's a neat way to make it. And that's actually a bit of a fun one. But it takes a while because it's 1, it's a single player game, and 2, a lot happens in it. Like you face off with a giant mothership in the end, and that's crazy shit. There's one of the worst ones in the single player one. It's even worse than the pad one because it's just so not interesting, and nor does it offer like variety at all. It's where you have to make a robot with Dr. Cryogen by following his instructions. So he'll like ask for you to draw like a 1-inch line, and then depending on whether or not it's actually an inch long or how perfect it is, he'll give you points for that, and then he'll ask you to draw a circle with a certain diameter. Diameter, yes. And then obviously he does the same thing. Then he'll ask for like, triangles with sides that are like so many inches long, and then he'll ask for like a squiggly line, and he'll ask you to draw like an angle with a certain degree. And that's basically the game. Like it doesn't get harder, it doesn't get easier. It's just that, and it's really boring and it's not fun. It's like once you've done it once, you don't have any reason to play it again, and that's really unfortunate because with all the other ones, there's variations to them, and like there's harder ones or like there's different levels or whatnot. And it's unfortunate they couldn't do it with that one because that probably would have made it a lot better. Like he could ask for like a rectangle or something like that. I don't know, just throwing out ideas there. Nintendo, you could do a little bit better. So that's that's like the weakest part of the game probably. There is one called Patchworks, which is a lot more fun than it probably should be, where you take these various pieces and you have to try and fit them in on this little screen, and you create like a drawing of sorts, and that's fun. There's a snapshot one where you have to take photos of like 5 people during a scene that's going on, and they ask for like certain requirements, so it's like they have to face the camera or they have to be smiling while they're looking at the camera or something like that. That's a lot of fun. Thankfully. And there's a lot of really, really fun games like that. Like I said, the 2 weakest links is that dance one and the drawing the robot. There's also a bunch of collectibles in the game that do various things. So like they're little mini toys or whatnot, and those are fun to collect because they're like little distractions. Though they don't last as long as they would in some of the other ones, but they're still really fun. And I think that's basically it. There's 16. I don't know if I mentioned this. I probably have. There's 16 different games in this, all using the gamepad, of course, and tons of collectibles, little beaver sketches, and on top of that, its release price is about $40, which is about $20 cheaper than like most other games that just come out. So you should I would definitely recommend grabbing this because it's going to be one of the better Wii U games, especially as it's come out within the first year of the system. So with that all said and done, until next time, keep on gaming.